Ah, it's time for a little traditional Barlow love on the TheApostleP channel from Titusville, Pennsylvania. From the oldest continuously operating knife factory in the country, the old Schatt Morgan factory, home to Queen Cutlery these days. Still making Schatt Morgan knives though. We're going to take a look at the Queen number 69 pattern in both trademarks. Stay tuned, guys. Hi gang, Rob here. It's the evening of 29 March 2015, and yes, we're sort of in the year of the Barlow, you might say. 2014 anyway might have been considered the year of the Barlow. We had a couple runs of Great Eastern Cutlery Tom's Choice Barlows. They're 3.5-inch number 15 chassis. Had one run last year and one this year of the GEC number 77. Bartham, special factory order by Mike Latham of CollectorKnives.net, a little longer, about a 3 3/4 inch medium Barlow, but forgotten sort of in all that hoopla is a pretty neat Barlow from Queen. Their number 69 pattern. That's what these are. This a Schatt Morgan Barlow in winter bottom bone with a sweet sheep's foot blade with a long match striker pull. And what does it say on the back? ATS 34. That's not 1095. No, it's not. It is not. These things are gorgeous, aren't they? And you know, you've got your Queen's strengths and weaknesses on these. They are not bashful about using modern steels. They sure make an awesome looking knife, don't they? But very often the mark side of the blade, the left side as you're looking down at it from the spine, very well ground, and then always a little bit of an issue on the back side, the peel side. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but they're generally ground a little wavy. This one is, if you look closely at the bevel, you'll see that it widens a little bit right in this area where there's a sort of a high spot. The plunge grind's never quite as tight on the peel side of the blade. Their pins are a little sloppy the way they're spun, but great walk and talk, great snap, absence of side-to-side blade play, centering not perfect, it'll move around a little bit. Look around the outside edge of the knife closely, not ground completely square around the butt. And that's just sort of normal, but what you do get, super great transitions between cover and bolster, nicely colored around the backside. Everything feels nice and flush. Our back spring when closed is flush. It probably droops a little bit. It does at half stop. Back to dead flush when open. End of the back spring finished pretty nicely. Handsome devil, isn't it? And then you guys are waiting to see this, I know. This is the knife I came home with after my visit to Queen. This is the Queen Cutlery version in what they call honey amber stag bone. So this is bone that is jigged to look like antler, stag antler. If you notice, it's not a whole lot different than winter bottom bone and a Schatt Morgan. Same basic concept. Winter bottom bone developed in the early 1960s as a bone material made to look like antler. No different here. I think this is just super handsome. You know, a little less striking, dressy looking is the Queen version, but a pretty graceful clip point blade, I thought. Same kind of funky grind issues going on the peel side. Hard to tell. Nicely polished blades. A couple things I noticed that sort of make Queen not quite GEC. If you look at the etching, especially on the Schatt Morgan, it's just a little blurry. And kind of different from one side to the other on these ATS 34 models. The etch is a little crisper on the Queen model. This blade needed quite a bit of work at the bench, and I sort of had to repolish, so that etch is not going to be as dark as it was from the factory. This one in D2, by the way. Again, a departure. It's kind of an interesting little trade-off you get from one side of Titusville to the other. You buy a Great Eastern Cutlery knife, you're going to get, well, if you're in a Great Eastern trim level or brand, you're going to get 440C stainless steel. You go into a Tidiute or a Northfield, you're going to get any steel you want as long as it's 1095. Bill Howard over at GEC is, well, he's just not a fan of CPM 154 or 154 CM or ATS 34 or D2. He uses basically two steels. Even the 01 production has gone away from GEC. So if you want something a little exotic as far as steel and you love Pennsylvania made traditional knives, these are a great option. Let's kind of look at a size comparison. I'm going to line these guys up best I can, getting them vertically with the whole knife on camera. You'll notice the blade a little longer on my clip, about 2 3/4 on a 3.5 inch frame, 2 5/8 blade length on the Warncliffe or the sheep's foot. Sorry about that. You'll notice lengthwise, spread these out just a tick. Lengthwise, they're going to fall basically identically to the Tom's Choice Barlow, the 3.5 inch number 15 from GEC, and they're going to be a little shorter than the 77. A little bit longer knife, huh? But if you notice, in this dimension, sort of top to bottom in the handle, a little more hand filling than both the GECs. And a little thicker handle too, I believe, than even the 77. Let's kind of look at them. Yeah. Cover material a little thicker on the Queen product. Get these other guys out of here. So still very economical, compact knife to carry, but a little more hand filling. Kind of like that. I really kind of like the stag bone. A lot of grip it affords. Not quite as much with the winter bottom. That's a little smoother. So, you know, where would I put these knives quality-wise? They're not as well made, not as precisely made as a Great Eastern Cutlery 15 or 77 Barlow. But other than GEC, they're kind of as good as it gets. They're well, their materials are a little higher line. than anybody's. That's a bit of a trade-off, I guess. A nicer knife than a Case. Not sure Case is even making any Barlows currently. So this pattern, if you like it, gives you a great option. If you like to be different and you don't like to follow the Tom's Choice crowd, or if you just like a little variety in your collection, these are two great options. The Schatt Morgan version is also made, I believe, in a spear and a clip using D2. I don't know, I'm sorry, $10.95 for a little less money. This will run you between 90 and 100 depending on where you find it. The Queen version, I think around 80, which is the same price range pretty much if you find the Schatt Morgan in winter bottom bone with the $10.95 steel blades. So, you know, a little less money than either one of these guys, just barely. And some good variety, I think, don't you? So, what do you think? Can you get D2 or ATS 34 sharp? Well, apparently you can. Here's our D2. Let's see if this old sheep's foot ATS 34 blade will cut. Yeah, I guess it will. And then for those of you guys who didn't know or have forgotten, ATS 34, the original Japanese formulation of what we've come to know as 154 CM made in America. You see that in a lot of Benchmade knives and others. ProTech. And in a Queen traditional. Pretty cool. Just thought you'd like to see them. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word is sharp.